If you're new to entrepreneurship, watch this video. My name is Braden, and I started entrepreneurship about a year ago. And to this day, I made about 108K in revenue. That's 40K in personal take-home profit, like in my bank account. And in this video, I'm just gonna be telling you what I learned throughout my journey and what I wish I had known right away when I first started that would have gotten me to where I am now a lot quicker. Just first and foremost, it's best to learn from somebody who is like only a couple of steps ahead of you. Yeah, they're like billionaires can offer you some valuable insight, but if you're talking to someone just like 6 months ahead of you, 1 year ahead of you, 2 years ahead of you, you're gonna learn a lot more because they experience what you're experiencing now a lot more recently. So that's kind of what I'm making this video for, is my 18-year-old self or 17-year-old self. Just to break down what I do this thing called growth operating, where I partner with an educational content creator and then I help them sell their education to their audience through a course, coaching program, mentorship, community, anything like that. Right now, I'm partnered with a clothing brand creator and I help him sell his audience into a mentorship and a community where he teaches people how to start and scale their clothing brands, and I take a fat profit share of his business. And this video is really just for anybody in entrepreneurship at all. So the number one thing I'd say is set your expectations really low so you can just crush them. And most people out there who are actually educating you on some sort of business model, they're actually here to sell some type of course. Like for me, I don't sell a course, I don't sell anything, but a lot of entrepreneurs, they're gonna tell you like, hey, this is easy, this is the easiest way to hit 10K per month, do this in 3 months. And I think it's good because it gets a lot of people in the space, but then what ends up happening is a lot of these people expect it to be easy, like boom, snap their fingers, make 10K. And then after 3 months of trying something, they're like, what the hell, I haven't made a dime. And then they end up giving up. And so for me, I set my expectation low, where it's like, okay, I'm gonna give myself a year, and by the end of the year, I'll be making 5K per month. And so I set that expectation low and just assumed that things would be incredibly hard. And then what ended up happening is things were easier than I thought. It's just like a life hack, is setting expectations low and then crushing them. And it just makes your life so much easier, especially mentally, because entrepreneurship is an extremely mentally taxing thing. Like it's incredibly rewarding, it's incredibly fun, but it is very mentally taxing. Like just for reference, I set my expectation in a year I'll be making 5K per month. I ended it wasn't personal, but my business ended up doing 33K in the month of in June, which is even 2 months quicker than, that was after 10 months in online business, I had a 33K month. And that's about 15, 16, 17K in my pocket, right? As an 18-year-old, like it's, online business is insanely, I don't want to call it easy, but there's a ton of opportunity. But even though there's all this opportunity and you should shoot for way higher, 100K a month, even like $1 million a year is like a small business. So definitely shoot higher, but set your expectations low at first so you can just crush them and just shoot for the moon. Lesson number 2 is pick one thing and stick to it. Don't spend a little bit of time researching, but don't just like sit there and watch a bunch of videos, take a bunch of notes. It's called mental masturbating. It's just like you get all these ideas and you're like jerking off in your mind to all these ideas, and it doesn't get you anywhere. Just pick one thing and act on it and go all in on it. And a lot of people get this shiny object syndrome, as like that's just typical for entrepreneurs. You're like, oh, my friend's making money in crypto, my other friend's making money drop shipping, my other friend's making money trading. Just pick one thing. Any of those things could make you money, but if you're doing multiple of them, you're probably not going to make any money. So pick one thing and stick to it for a year and actually commit to it, and I guarantee that you will have made at least $1. Okay? But pick something that you don't require, and like pick something that's low risk. That's my recommendation. If you have to front money, or if you have to risk losing money in whatever investment it is, I said don't do that as a complete beginner. So like a great option for a beginner, for example, is any type of service business or an agency where you're just helping somebody and providing some type of service. You don't have to front money for inventory. You don't have to fucking worry about losing your ass in like trading crypto or day trading or anything like that. And just stick to that one thing. Please, dear God, do not hop into a different opportunity vehicle. Just pick that one thing. So there's this curve, I forget what it's called. It's like the entrepreneur success curve or something. So when you're first starting, you find out about this thing and you're like, wow, this is gonna be amazing. You have uninformed optimism. Like for me, when I started my growth operating, I looked at this, I was like, wow, this is amazing. I can partner with a big creator and just get like 50% of the business, sell their audience. And then after you get over that little curve, then you figure out, oh shit, you have informed pessimism. You realize there's a bunch of bullshit. Every business has some sort of bullshit that's gonna fuck you over. And it, like, no matter what, grass always looks greener on the other side, but that's because it's lined with shit. Then I figured out, oh, it's actually really hard to get in touch with the creator. Once I do launch with the creator, you can't sell to an entertainment audience. You can't sell info to an entertainment audience. There are all these things that you realize, like, oh shit, I thought this would be way easier, right? And then this actually happened to me. It was about March of 2024, after I've been doing business for a few months. And that's when I hit the very bottom, which is the valley of despair and the crisis of meaning, where you're like, fuck, am I even passionate about growth operating? Like, this shit sucks. Am I even like on the right path? And that's especially hard about entrepreneurship, because all your friends, all your family, everyone around you is going to be like, I told you so. And they're right. And that's what makes it hurt. But you just have to like keep fucking going and know that it is gonna get brighter. March, I was literally at zero after months and months and months of working. And I was like fully committed, like day in and day out working on this business. No school, I barely hung out with friends. Like this is all I did, 12, 14-hour days. And then in April, I did 10K profit. And then May did 10K revenue. June did 33K, the business. So it's all about just sticking through it. The number one most important skill as an entrepreneur is just persistence. No matter what, you're gonna get slapped in the face over and over. You're gonna eat shit, but it's just sticking with it and knowing that things will work out if you fully commit and just like pour all your energy and focus into this one thing. You're probably not gonna be super passionate about whatever you're starting. And also, this is just my like personal opinion, is all business is the same. Like you say you're passionate about fitness, you start a personal training business. It's not like really fitness involved. It's really just sell, market, build a product, hire a team. It's like all the business stuff. And so what I recommend is when you're starting, focus instead of like what you're working towards, but what you're working away from, because humans are more motivated from pain than they are from desire. So think about, I fucking hate my job. I hate my school. I hate being stuck in my parents' house. I hate having no freedom, right? Focus on all of those things for passion to push you forward, and then develop a love for the game of business. Like for me, I'm not necessarily passionate about the exact business that I have right now. I'm helping Atlanta streetwear people start and scale their clothing brands. I'm not passionate about that, but I'm passionate about business and growing things and building things and learning. That's what motivates me. And so start with motivation away from stuff, and then develop a passion for the actual game of business. All right, next, spend money on your education. I cannot say how much of a proponent I am for this. I've spent about 20K on my education within the past year, and that came from my own pocket. And so once you do figure out what you're gonna do, pick one thing, look at all the courses, and then just whoever you see the best results from, the most recent results, who's been in the game most recently, just buy their program. Make sure they have either like one-on-one mentorship or group coaching, and just invest in your education. And then this brings me to my next thing that I learned: have a brotherhood, or if you're a woman, whatever, a womanhood. But for me as a guy, have a brotherhood. Like this is probably the most important thing for me. When you buy a program, you're gonna meet, like you need a mentor ahead of you who's gonna guide you forward. You need a brotherhood of people around you who are gonna keep you motivated and keep you accountable. And a lot of people think that like accountability partners are stupid. I still have accountability calls to this day, and I've made over 6 figures as a 19-year-old. And so focus on finding a brotherhood in whatever program you are. Join these online communities, reach out to other people, find people on the same path as you. And as well as that, cut off the people who do not serve you. For a tree to grow, you need to cut off the dead limbs for it to keep going. And so for me, it was one of the hardest fucking things in the world, but it served me. And it's so hard at first to cut off. Like, these are people who I actually cared a lot about, but then I looked, do they serve me? Does this relationship help me get to where I want to go? Do I see myself being friends with them in the future? Most of them, that was not the case. And I was actually really lonely for a while. Or not lonely, but I was alone. I cut off all these people and it was just me. And it took me a while for me to find these new friends on the internet. And it was kind of weird. It was we became boys on Discord calls. It was kind of weird. And then we all came up together. We're all making 6 figures now. And it's really cool that we can meet up in person. And there's that real human connection, which is really important, not just the online connection. This is the last one, and probably the most important one. It kind of has to do with the shiny object syndrome, but not exactly. Simple scales, fancy fails. I know as a beginner, you just don't want to commit to the work, and you're looking for some cheat code where it's how can I snap my fingers and make 10K? And I can tell you, there is no cheat code. You just have to confront the fucking wall and do the work. But what your brain is going to do is you're going to come up with all these different ideas and schemes, elaborate schemes for your business plan that you think are so crazy and so unique. You're like, bro, this is so untapped. Nobody's ever thought about it. And in reality, you're just a retard. And I know this because I don't even want to go into specifics because it's so stupid, but around in March, right before I hit my valley of despair, I was doing probably one of the stupidest things that I'd ever done. And if I had fully committed to that, I wouldn't have made a dime. At this point, if I was still trying to do that, I wouldn't have made any money. Follow a roadmap. Find somebody who's done what you want to do and just copy exactly what they say to do. Honestly, you can use your own kind of creativity to add on to it, but you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just find something that lots of other people have gotten to work and then just replicate it. And then once you have those base foundations of entrepreneurship, then you understand the concepts, so then you can try new things. But when you don't understand entrepreneurial concepts, you just have stupid ass ideas that you think are really crazy. You think you're Albert Einstein, and then you just end up losing a bunch of money or wasting a bunch of time. So please, dear God, just pick a simple thing. Literally pick a service and sell shit. That's what it is. Decide what you're gonna do, sell shit, deliver the shit that you sell. 3-step framework to hitting 10K per month. 10K per month is nothing. It is so minuscule. There are $60 trillion in circulation in the economy, probably more. You can't even fathom that amount of money. 10K per month is this minuscule amount. I have a 14-year-old friend who made 10K per month. I have other friends with 0 business experience. Even me personally, I was not that I didn't have very much business acumen when I made 10K per month. That's really it. It's just do simple shit. Just pick one thing, do simple shit. Don't come up with some fancy plan. Commit to it and you will hit 10K. I promise you, if you commit. So I hope you got some sauce from this video, and I'll see you in the next one.